Hello everybody, it's Red and welcome back to more Pokemon Generations. Last time we caught ourselves the myth, the legend, the Pokemon Mew. And that was about it. As I said, I'm not going to be using it on my team, it's just there because of reasons that I will be explaining at the end of this episode. And this time, today, we are going to finally board the SSN. Right after we take care of some quick business. First of all, there are two TMs that I want to teach to my team. The first one being TM11 Bubble Beam. I want to teach that to Taro because I looked it up. Yes, Bubble Beam is not the same as the one that I have, which is Water Gun. Bubble Beam is actually quite a bit stronger, and I want to teach that to Taro. We're not going to be catching any water types anytime soon, like for our team. So Taro using water moves is gonna be our best choice. I would have liked to teach it to Zoo, but Zoo can actually learn water moves, with one tiny exception. So there. I'm gonna teach Water Gun to Taro, just because it's that great. Well, Bubble Beam, Water Gun she already had. And I of course overwrote Water Gun because there's no point in having two water type moves, that would just be redundant. Next up, I want to use TM28, which contains Dig. I want to teach Dig to Alan, because Alan's a fire type. Fire types are weak to rock, and ground is super effective against rock. So that's at least going to give my Charmeleon, some coverage against that. So, you know, that will be useful, that will be helpful. I'm going to get rid of Leer just because I have no use for that. I could get rid of Growl, but both of those moves I'm not going to use that much. So, whatever. And next up, we also got this bike voucher a couple episodes ago. And that is why I'm here in Cerulean. That's why I didn't just start the video in Vermilion. Because with the bike voucher, we can now come into the bike shop. Right here, boom. Better check the sign so I don't get lost like last time. Oh, that's a bike voucher! Okay, here you go! And we exchange the bike voucher for a bicycle. Yeah, baby! Woo-wee! So there we have it. The bike voucher is the only way that you can get the bicycle because, as I said previously, bikes cost more money that you can actually hold than you can actually hold. So the bike voucher is the only way that you can get the bike. And I highly recommend that you get the bike as soon as possible because, oh boy. Oh, that didn't move it. I wanted to move it to the top of my list. I'm going to use the bike so much that I'm just not gonna add it to the little sidebar thing that I always edit. So always assume that I have the bike on my pocket. That's just the thing that's gonna be. That's just gonna make editing a little bit easier for me. And the bike will allow you to move twice as fast. Yes, double speed. And of course you can't ride it indoors because that would just be impolite and messy. So you can only ride bikes outdoors. So I'm just gonna go back to Vermilion City. Now that I have the bicycle, this should be really fast. And once again, there's this transition right here. In the underground tunnel, you can use the bike, so that transition is kind of awkward. I think they fixed it on Generation 3, but it's kind of awkward. And once again, it's gonna happen. Boom, we're out of the bike. And, ooh, we're back on the bike. It's just something awkward that you have to deal with a little bit. The only way to access the bike really is to just go to the menu and hop on the bike. That's why I want to have the bike on the top of my list. Because you can't like set the bike to any other buttons or anything like that. So there we have it. Now here in Vermilion City, there is this one place called the Vermilion Harbor. Let's go down it a little bit. Because as you might remember, when we talked to Bill, he gave us an item called the SS Ticket. SSN is a famous luxury cruise ship. We visit Vermilion once a year. Welcome to SSN. And if you try to go through, welcome to SSN. Excuse me, do you have a ticket? And we flash tickets from time. Cha! I just imagine it going like all anime, where it's just cha, 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 waching. That's my ticket. Oh, sorry, Zoo. No. Zoo's just scared because it's dark in here. I have to keep it dark, otherwise it would just make so much noise. It's impossible to record like that. Sorry, boy. Sorry. That's a good boy. And Harper's just scared. And then we can, after we flash our ticket, we can move on. Now, there's a little bit that I could talk about over here on this screen. It does involve Mew, but I don't think it fits into this video, so I'm just gonna not mention it at all. Now, inside the SSN, of course, you can ride the bike. No cycling allowed here. That makes sense. So you just have to do everything on foot. Pikachu is not gonna have any interactions here on the cruise ship, so don't really care about that. And if you talk to this guy, the passengers are restless. You might be challenged by the more bored ones. The more bored, the boredest, the border. I'm more, no, bored. That's so weird. Okay, fine. That breaks the rule of 2 or 3 syllables with comparatives and superlatives. Oh well. Bonjour, I am the waiter on this ship. I will be happy to serve you. Anything you please. Ah, the strong silent type. Yeah, that's like one of the few allusions that the game makes to the fact that our protagonist doesn't speak at all. Anyway, as that guy was saying, here on the ship, most trainers will talk to you. And most of them will talk to you. You can talk to every single passenger. And most of them will actually challenge you to a Pokemon fight. And there will come a point where you can't board the SSN anymore. That will actually be at the end of this episode. So if you want to get a lot of experience, make sure to fight all of them. I will do that, but not exactly right now, because I'd rather just get on with the story and then speed things up as we need them. Shh, I'm a global police agent. I'm on the trail of Team Rocket. Ah, I see. And this guy, right? Oh my gosh, this guy. Ooh boy. There are a lot of theories. First of all, this ship seems to come from somewhere France inspired. And then there's this police agent, international police agent right on that room. So, so many theories. So many theories. Anyway, just head up on that ladder. You can talk to people, but they usually have interesting dialogue, but not too interesting. So, you know, just talk to them if you want to, don't if you don't want to. What we really need to do is come over here to the 2nd floor and walk up a couple steps where... Bonjour, Yellow! Imagine seeing you here! Yellow, were you really invited? Oh, come on, dude, come on. I'm in here, aren't I? There was a security guard. What, do you think I just surfed here? Yeah, right. So how's your Pokédex coming? I already caught 40 kinds, pal. Different kinds are everywhere. Crawl under in grassy areas. Crawl around in grassy areas. Oh, that's a bit hard to say. Crawl around in grassy areas. And then we get to fight Gary one more time. Oh boy, so much Gary everywhere. By the way, if you caught over 40 kinds of Pokemon, why do you only walk around with 4? Well, of course, I used to do that as well. It's just a little bit of an extra challenge, because if you have spare Pokemon, you basically have free healing. So that's a little bit like cheating. A lot of people consider that cheating. I personally don't, but you know, for the extra challenge, I guess you could say that it really doesn't do a whole lot. If you always walk around with 6 Pokemon, it would be good. Yes, it would be the smart move to make for a trainer, but if you want a challenge, you just don't. Ramble over. Gary wants to fight! He's going to start off with Spearow, level 19, contains Peck, Growl, Leer, and Fury attack. Now, oh, I forgot to switch. Let's go over to Zoo. This Spearow is not gonna give me a lot of trouble because its attacks are just not that powerful. He's usually going to open up with a Leer just to try to weaken you a little bit, and then follow up with lots of attacks. But because we have Pikachu, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Fury attack, oh, 9 damage. Yeah, it's still not gonna kill me. I'm good, I'm good. Now, if you were playing Red or Blue, you would actually have a Pidgeotto, which is... Come on. My computer's lagging. Why is my computer lagging? If you are playing Red and Blue, instead of this Spearow, Gary is going to have a Pidgeotto at level 19 with Gust, Sand Attack, and Quick Attack. The only ways it has to damage you is by using Gust or Quick Attack, which can be dangerous. Pidgeotto is gonna be more dangerous than Spearow, so that fight is considerably harder than this one. But still, I don't know. It shouldn't be too difficult, especially if you have an electric type like a Pikachu that you caught in Viridian. So, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Oh nice, Home grew to level 20. Okay, those are good stats. Attack is still higher than special, that's nice to know. And then we get some more experience, and now he's going to use Rattata. For this Rattata, do I want to keep Zoo out? Zoo's gonna end up fainting. Yeah, let's switch. His Rattata, level 16! Tackle, Tail Whip, Quick Attack, and Hyper Fang. That Hyper Fang can be a little bit dangerous. If I'm not mistaken, Hyper Fang is the one that deals a lot of damage and Super Fang is the one that cuts your HP in half. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes, but, well, anyway. I could use Ember. I think that would deal more damage than Dig. No, it wouldn't because Ember is so weak. Dig is gonna deal more damage. So let's Dig! Getting Diggy with it. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Getting Diggy with it. And then of course, Dig works like this. You dig a hole, you become invulnerable, and then on the next turn, you just attack. Apparently you had a speed tie. So that just worked out wonders. Amazing, great, really awesome, really great. But, well, that's nice. Usually it's just gonna follow the speed, so if you moved second on the first turn, you're going to move second on the next turn, so you end up evading an attack, but hey, if we had a speed tie, that's just fine by me. Instead of Rattata and Red and Blue, he's going to have its evolution, Raticate, at level 16, really weird because Rattata evolves at 20. That Raticate is going to have Tackle, Tail Whip, Quick Attack, and Hyper Fang. It's the same moveset, but of course on a Raticate, it is gonna be slightly more dangerous than on a Rattata. So just watch out for that. And also, remember that Raticate's level, it's 16. Remember that, it's important for a little theory later on. Oh, so many theories today, that's cool. And then you get some experience, nice, and he's going to send out Sentru next. Ooh boy. Come on, Tato, you have a water type move, so we can just use you. His Sentru, level 18, Scratch, Sand Attack, and Slash. Slash is kinda dangerous, Sentru is kinda fast, so chances are it will get criticals often if it does use it, but of course, Tato's just gonna Bubble Beam it away and pff, no problem at all. Also, the sound effect for Bubble Beam is so annoying. Oh, it survived with 1 HP? Seriously? Yeah, there's the Slash and its critical hits. Anyway, instead of a Sentru on Red and Blue, it's going to have a Kadabra. Yes, his Abra evolved. His Kadabra is going to have Teleport, Confusion, and Disable. At level 18, so, you know, it is kinda dangerous. At this point, you should have Pokemon in our 20s, especially if you beat Misty. But his Kadabra can be a little difficult, to say the least. Overall, this entire fight on Red and Blue is just a lot harder than it is here on Yellow. Just look out for his Kadabra. His only damaging move is Confusion, and Confusion has a 10% chance of inflicting you with the status, Confusion. So just watch out for that, that can be really nasty, but otherwise it's just going to use Disable, which is gonna mean that you can attack it with something, because that move is going to be disabled, or it's just gonna waste its turn using Teleport. So really, his Kadabra shouldn't be too much of a hassle, but do watch out for it, it can be really bad. And last but not least, we get some experience, of course. Gary is going to send out his starter on Yellow, that is Eevee. I'm going to open up with Zoo, of course, because I want to paralyze this guy. His Eevee has Tackle, Tail Whip, Sand Attack, and Growl. Its only form of attacking is still Tackle. Yeah. Oh boy, that is so sad. This Eevee shouldn't be hard at all. Just going to Thunder Wave it. If you were playing Red and Blue, of course, he's going to have the starter that is strong against your starter, so that can be really nasty. As I said, this fight is going to be a lot harder than it is on Red and Blue. No, wait, what? This fight is a lot easier on Yellow than it is on Red and Blue, so watch out for that. Just keep that in mind when playing, because that can catch you off guard. If you don't think you're ready, just battle everyone on the ship and you should be able to take out Gary no problem. Now let's just slam him and that should take it out. Nope, nope, nope. Eevee is a lot tankier apparently than I thought it was. Great. And I'm already missing. One Sand Attack and I start missing away. Yeah, Slam is doing more. Okay. And of course I missed. 85% accuracy and I can't hit. One Sand Attack and I can't hit my slams! Dude! And now it's using Growl, so I'm weaker. I'm just gonna switch out. Come on, Alan. Ugh. Seriously. Just players, trainers that spam Sand Attack. He just used it once, but that apparently was enough. Let's use Dig again. As you can see, I was faster than Eevee because of course Eevee is paralyzed, so you know it's obvious that I'm gonna be faster, especially because it's a Charmeleon. Charmeleon, oh that's nice. Charmeleon, I like that. So I'm just going to dig a hole here. It's going to use growl, but it's gonna miss because I am underground. That's what dig does. It gets you underground. Against Rattata, we had a speed tie, so I just ended up going second and then first 2 turns in a row, which is like really good. But hey, that's how dig's supposed to work. You move at the same time that you did before. So if you moved first, you're gonna move first. If you moved second, you're gonna move second. Regardless, you are going to evade 1 attack. And then, of course, Eevee fainted, and we gained some experience. Nice. And we defeated Gary once more. At least you're raising your Pokémon. What else do you think I'm doing? Farming berries? Jeez, Gary. I heard there was a gut master on the board. On board? On board. I hope that's a pun. I don't think it is, but I really hope it is. But he was just a seasick old man, but gut itself is really useful. You should go see him. Smell ya! I always try to give Gary the most obnoxious voice I possibly can. Anyway, the end of the ship is right up here. If you want to get on with the story, all you have to do is talk to this NPC right here, but I don't want to talk to him right now. Instead, I want to go back and walk around the ship. There are 2 TMs that you can get. There are 8 items total, 2 of them being TM, so you might not want to miss out on them. If I'm not mistaken, those TMs are just for rest and body slam. Yeah, those are good moves. So make sure you pick them out, just even if you don't use them, make sure you have them just because. But before, of course, I start fighting everyone, I'm just gonna stop by the Pokemon Center in Vermilion City and then I'm just going to speed everything up. So, let's do it. While we're fighting everyone, let's talk about status conditions. First of all, status conditions are basically things that will hinder the Pokemon afflicted by them in a certain way during battle. Now, there are 2 types of status conditions. Basically, we call them volatile and non-volatile. Volatile ones are the ones that don't persist through battles. Basically, if the battle ends, the condition is gone. You don't have to worry about it ever again. Well, unless you're inflicted with it again. And non-volatile are the ones that persist through battles. If you don't heal them, the next battle you engage on will also have the same status effects that you had before you entered the battle. Now, the division is pretty simple, so let's just get to each status condition. First, I'm gonna talk about the volatile ones. The first one being Bind. Oh boy, we have seen Bind a couple of times already throughout the series. And let me tell you, it's nasty. It's very nasty. Bind will last anywhere from 2 to 5 turns. The only moves that can give you Bind are Wrap, Bind, and Fire Spin. Each one will be its own type. Bind and Wrap are normal type, and Fire Spin is of course fire type. They do deal damage. The damage will be calculated by the power of the move, of course, and by the type interaction. So if your Pokemon is weak to fire, if you get afflicted with Fire Spin, then yeah, you're gonna have super effective damage. The damage dealt by any move that binds will be the same as the first damage. So if the first hit of Bind is critical, every hit after the first one will also have critical damage, even though it won't be shown as, oh, it's a critical hit. And the nasty thing about Bind is that it does not allow you to act until it wears off. So one thing that you can do is just get a really fast Pokemon like an Onix, at least in the beginning of the game. Onix is really fast, and then start spamming Bind. This way the Pokemon you're facing will never ever get you active, because you're always faster than it. So even after Bind wears off, you will still be faster than it, and then you're going to use Bind directly after that, so you're just gonna bind it forever. Switching out will stop it, however, so you know, there's that. But of course, if the opponent keeps using Bind, you're still in a huge mess. In Generation 2, thankfully, they changed the whole Bind thing to where instead of you can't act, you just can't switch out. It's a huge improvement. Next up is Leech Seed. First of all, this is the only volatile status condition that does not end after you switch out. So even if you switch out, your Pokemon will still be inflicted with Leech Seed. What Leech Seed does is that it deals 1/16 of your maximum HP as damage every single turn, and it will heal your opponent, whatever opponent that is, doesn't matter if it's the one that used the Leech Seed or not, that opponent will heal the same damage that you took. So if you took 10 HP of damage, your opponent will heal 10 HP. Grass types are not affected by Leech Seed, so there's that, that's a great plus, and that's about it. Next up we have Confusion. Confusion, when you're inflicted with Confusion, there's a 50% chance where instead of acting, you will actually damage yourself with a 40 power typeless move that can never be a critical hit. And it's also physical, meaning that it uses the attack and defense of the Pokémon, whatever that stat is at that moment. So if you raise your attack or have your defense lowered, that will mean that you will take more damage from confusion. And of course, in the same way, if you raise your defense or somehow had your attack lowered, you will also take less damage from confusion. It's 40 power, physical, and typeless, so it will never be super effective or not very effective. It will always be just effective, I guess. After 1 to 4 turns of acting, it will wear off. And it is the only condition that can be cured by items that heal everything. Only items that heal everything, like full heal or full restore. And if you switch out, it also wears off. The last volatile status condition is flinch. Flinch is technically a status condition. We basically call it a one-turn status condition. What it does is that it stops the opponent from acting if the user was faster than the opponent. Flinch will only affect the turn when it was used. So if you moved second, you will never get your opponent to flinch, because what flinch does is that it stops your opponent from acting on that very same turn. So if you moved second, your opponent has already acted, so why bother flinching if you have already done your thing? So yeah. The only way to make someone flinch is by using other moves that have flinch as a secondary effect, like Hyper Fang from Rattata and Raticate. And that wraps it up for volatile status conditions. Now we're gonna get to the good stuff, the non-volatile status conditions. These, as I said, are the ones that don't wear off after battle. If the battle ends, you will still be affected by them. The first one is Poison. Poison will deal 1/16 of the maximum HP of the Pokémon inflicted as damage every single turn. And outside of battle, it will actually deal 1 HP of damage every 4 steps you take. So you take 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 4th step, you're gonna take 1 HP of damage to every single Pokémon that is inflicted by Poison. In Generation 5, it stopped doing that, so that's great. You just don't have to worry about it anymore. And it does not affect poison types. Poison will be healed by the item Antidote, or, of course, items that heal everything, because those items heal everything, like Full Heal and Full Restore. Next up is a variation of Poison. We call it Bad Poison. The difference between Poison and Bad Poison is that Bad Poison is cumulative. Every turn the damage will become bigger. Starting from 1/16 damage on the first turn, on the second turn it will deal 2/16, on the third turn it will deal 3/16, on the fourth turn it will deal 4/16, and so on and so forth. Which means that basically if your opponent doesn't heal, and of course you don't deal damage, on the 6th turn the Pokémon will always faint by Bad Poison. And if it does heal after the 8th or 9th turn, that should have accumulated enough damage to where the Pokémon can't heal that much. On the 8th turn, you'll be dealing half the HP of damage of poison, so, you know, it's ridiculous like that. But, however, there is a glitch where if you switch out, Bad Poison becomes normal poison. Yeah, and that also happened in Generation 2. Generation 3, that stopped happening, but for Generations 1 and 2, Bad Poison becomes normal poison if you switch out. The only move that can inflict Bad Poison is Toxic. And, just like Poison, Bad Poison is healed by Antidote, and it also affects the outside of battle where you take 1 HP of damage every 4 steps. And when you get into a new battle, when you're inflicted by Bad Poison, it will also become normal poison. And once again, just like Poison, it does not affect poison types. Next up we have Paralysis. Paralysis will first of all cut the speed of the Pokémon inflicted to 25% of its current value. So if you raise your speed to where right now it is 100, let's say, you have a level 20 Pikachu and you raise your speed to be 100. I don't know, that's possible, right? That's possible, yeah. If your Pikachu suddenly gets inflicted with Paralysis, instead of 100, his speed will be 25, which is not very fast. Yeah, a level 20 Pikachu with 25 speed is not very fast. Of course, a level 20 Pikachu with 100 speed is kind of ridiculous, but you get my point. 25% of your current speed. Not only that, but Paralysis also makes it so there is a 25% chance where the Pokémon inflicted by it will not be able to act. Just like Confusion, but you know, instead of hitting yourself, you just don't do anything. And instead of 50%, this one is 25%. Paralysis is healed by Paralysis Heal, of course, or Powerless Heal, because, you know, character limits. I just think that's funny. And one very particular thing about paralysis is that the move has to work on your opponent. So if, for example, you want to use Thunder Wave to paralyze, you have to make sure that your opponent is not a ground type, because ground types are of course immune to electric type moves. And since Thunder Wave is an electric type move, that ground type opponent, will not be affected by Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave also can't paralyze electric types, so there's that. But other moves, like Stun Spore, do affect both ground and electric types, as well as bug types. So just remember that. The move itself has to work against the Pokemon, so it is kind of flimsy on that sense. But there are plenty of paralyzing moves, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Also, ground and electric types are not that common, so you're good with Thunder Wave, trust me. Next up we have Burn. Burn is pretty simple. Just like Paralysis, it will also cut the stat of a Pokemon by a certain amount. Burn will cut the attack stat in half. So if you have 36 attack, as long as you're inflicted by Burn, your attack will actually be 16. No, 18. Math. Burn will also, just like Poison, deal 1/16 of your maximum HP as damage every single turn. So it's basically a mixture between Poison and Paralysis, but instead of cutting speed by 75%, it cuts attack by 50%. Burn also does not affect fire types, and it is healed, of course, by Burn Heal. Next up we have Sleep. Sleep will last anywhere from 1 to 7 turns. Pokemon inflicted with sleep can't do a thing, because of course, they're sleeping. Sleep is actually the only non-volatile status condition that ends after a certain amount of time. But waking up takes up a turn, but only in Generation 1. In Generation 2, you act the same turn you wake up. This means that if your opponent is fast enough and, of course, gets lucky enough with the accuracy, he can actually change sleep on you. So yeah, that's kinda bad. Now, the counter for sleep to wear off will reset if you switch out your Pokemon, so keep that in mind. If you stayed in battle for like 4 turns, and you are going to wake up on the next turn, then you switch out. The moment you send that Pokemon back in, the counter to waking up will start again from 1. You are not going to wake up on the very next turn. The counter does not save between switches. Sleep is healed, of course, by awakening, and it is one of the 2 non-volatile status conditions that increases the catch chance of a Pokemon by a lot. You can check out the video up there in the cards for more information on that. Next up we have Freeze. Freeze doesn't end, it lasts forever. The only way that you can get rid of Freeze is if you get hit by a fire type move or you heal with an item like Ice Heal, Full Heal or Full Restore. So what I recommend you do is that you always, absolutely always walk around with at least 3 Ice Heals in your pocket. At least 3. I like to be super safe, so I will always walk around with 10 as soon as I can buy them. When inflicted with Freeze, your Pokemon literally can't do a thing, because of course it's frozen in a block of ice. And if you can heal it, just let it go, because that Pokemon is as good as dead. DED, dead. Ice types are immune to Freeze, and just like Sleep, Freeze will increase the catch chance by a lot. Once again, more information up in the cards. This is great for catching wild Pokemon. You just have to be careful because the moves that do inflict Freeze also deal damage, and they are very powerful. So maybe you will end up knocking out that Pokemon. And if you're trying to catch an Ice type, you can freeze that Pokemon because, well, Ice types are immune to Freeze, so you're gonna have to resort to like Sleep or some other status condition. And the last one, technically, it's a status condition, but it also isn't because, well, it's kind of complicated. The last one is Faint. Technically, it is a status condition because it can be healed by items, such as Revive, Max Revive, and Rare Candies. Those 3 items can revive a Pokemon from Faint. And Rare Candy is kind of funny because, you know, Rare Candy levels up a Pokemon, and when you level up you gain some HP, so that HP will actually count towards your active HP. So when you use a Rare Candy, you do level up, and then you gain some HP, and that brings the Pokemon back to life. That's just a little bit funny. And I think it still works up to Generation 7, so it's just something. Maybe it was like a glitch or something, but they just liked it so much that they decided to keep it in. Now, I don't think I need to say this, but anything that deals damage can inflict a Pokemon with Faint, because all that needs to happen is that Pokemon's HP needs to hit 0, and the Pokemon is dead until you heal. The Pokemon can do a thing until you heal Faint. And if all 6 of your Pokemon faint, you're going to be teleported to the last Pokemon Center you healed at. And that is it for status conditions. Status conditions are key to battling. If you want to, of course, you can just spam Earthquake and just kill everything that comes around you, but Status Condition gives such a deep strategy level to battling that they are just too much fun to not use. So keep that in mind, make sure you build your team with some Status Conditions because they are great, and also always be prepared to deal with Status Conditions that are used against you, because that will happen. Now let me count my items. Let's see. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, 8. 8 items, perfect. This means that we have cleared the SSN, great. Now, throughout the speeding, I just want to point out that yes, I do use Doduo and Dodrio speeds just to, make it easier on myself, because these fights would take a long time otherwise. I think they did take a long time. Yeah, 14 minutes, even with all the speeding up. I just wanted to point out real quick that, first of all, Zoo had a hard time fighting everything in this ship. Just wow. I mean, Pikachu isn't known for its defensive capabilities, but I didn't think they were this bad. And then of course I had poor luck with Machops getting critical karate chops and all that good stuff. So Zoo just suffered a lot, so Alan and Tattle ended up becoming a lot stronger than Zoo. I also did fight every single trainer, and Tattle tried to learn a move called Minimize. Minimize is an interesting move, because first of all, it has an interaction with another move called Stomp. If you use Minimize, Stomp is going to deal more damage. Now I don't remember if that was introduced in like Generation 2 or 3, but that does happen at some point. I am not entirely sure if it happens in this game. Annotation on screen, of course, they always correct me. Thank you so much, my editor. But Minimize, what it does is that it increases your evasion. By increasing evasion, of course, it will be hard to get hit by moves like Stomp, but still, it's a move that messes with evasion. I don't like messing with evasion or accuracy, because I think that's cheap. I think that's extremely cheap. And I get so angry when NPCs do it that I just go, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it myself. Pikachu also tried to learn Double Team before, like a long time ago, and I said the same thing. I'm just not gonna mess with moves that mess around with accuracy. And also, Charmeleon tried to learn a move called Rage. Now, Rage is an odd move. What it's supposed to do is pretty simple. You enter this Rage mode where every time you get hit, you are going to increase your attack by 1 stage. And then at the end of the Rage, you are just going to attack. That's how it's supposed to go. But I found that in this game, that's not exactly how it works here in Generation 1. I might be wrong, of course, annotation's correcting me on screen, but as far as I know, Rage will actually lock you into a non-attacking state. You will not be able to attack, you are just going to be stuck using Rage all over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Kinda like internet trolls. You just rage all the time and don't get anything done. So that's just a move that kills you, kinda. That's how my experience went. I might be wrong, but yeah, that's how I remember Rage going. And of course I defeated every single trainer, so now there's absolutely nothing else for us to do here in the SSN except for talking to the captain. Just one little quick thing. You cannot use teleport or dig while in the SSN. So yeah, can't teleport, can't dig, can't do anything here inside the SSN. So if you do want to get out, you need to either walk out or get knocked out. The way my team is, I can't get knocked out because of a level 100 Mew. So, that's kind of the thing that happens. Now, let's just read this thing here real quick. How to conquer seasickness. The captain's reading this. Huh, that's interesting. And you're the captain. Talk to me. You idiot. Seasick. I just love how that plays the Pokemon Center jingle. It's so genius! Thank you! I feel much better. You wanna see my cut technique? I could show you if I wasn't ill. I know, you can have this. This is to your Pokemon and you can see it cut anytime. And we got the HM01. Oh boy, HMs, that is something That's quite easy to explain. Wait, you're sick, right? Whew, now that I'm not sick anymore, I guess it's time. It's time for what? It's time for what? Tell me. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Zoo just doesn't react at all. Okay, let's check this out. Yeah, shouldn't have looked. Oh my gosh, he was barfing. Yeah. So, Captain just gave us the move, the HM01. HMs are a little bit different from TMs. TM stands for Technical Machine. HM stands for Hidden Machine. HMs are different from TMs in the sense that, first of all of the HMs can be used outside of battle, while TMs, there are only a few of them, such as Dig, that we just saw. Well, we didn't see it today, but you know, trust me, Dig can be used outside of battle. HMs, however, all of them can be used outside, and they can only be used under certain circumstances. HM01 will teach you Cut. Now, Cut can be learned by many different Pokemon, mostly those Pokemon that have claws and things of that kind. And of course, Mew. This is why I wanted to add Mew to my team. This is why I wanted to catch Mew when I did. Mew is a Pokemon that can learn every single move in the game, and Cut is not a good move. Let's check it. Oh no, we can't actually see what it says. So if you come over here to the stats, you can see that's Mew, that's all nice. Now he knows Cut. 30 PP, if I'm not mistaken, only has 35 power, and it's normal type, so it's not really gonna do a whole lot battle-wise. And the thing about HMs is that they cannot be overwritten. You can never get rid of HMs. So if you teach an HM to some Pokemon, you better make that HM be good, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck for the rest of the game with a Pokemon that only has technically 3 moves, because one of them is just so bad. Of course, there are good TMs for battle. For example, there's one that deals 90 water damage, so that's great. There's another one that deals 90 normal damage. So those HMs, they are good. Those guys are good. But Cut is not. That's why I wanted Mew, to get what the internet calls an HM Slave. An HM Slave is basically another Pokemon that you get that you don't actually battle with. All you do with it is teach it HMs and TMs that you are not going to use in battle. HMs are required in order to progress with the story. And not only that, but HMs also don't wear off. Once you use an HM, you're going to keep it on your inventory. If you use a TM, you already know it goes away. I used 2 TMs at the beginning of this episode, and they're not in my inventory anymore. But I use the HM01 right now, and I still have it. So there. HMs don't run out. TMs do. This was changed in Generation 5, where HMs and TMs don't run out anymore, which is a great, awesome that they did that. They wanted to add some variety, you know, make it clear that it's different, like TM and HM. They're not the same thing, even though they kind of are. But yeah. Now, that's pretty much everything that I needed to say about HMs. Well, not everything. But let's leave the ship right now. If you leave the ship after getting HM01, the ship goes away. Bye-bye, ship. Bye, SSN. And we'll never see the SSN again. Now, there will be some NPCs that will tell you that the SSN comes around every year at the same time. And that may lead you to believe that after 1 year, well, after what would be like a 1 in-game year, the SSN would come back, but it doesn't. The SSN never comes back. Ever. So that basically means that once you get the HM01, you can never board the SSN again. So all of the items that were inside the SSN, including those great TMs that I got, TM08 and TM44, they will be gone forever. You can never get them again, unless you glitch the game, then you can get into the SSN again. But yeah, the SSN is gone. And even though you might think that it will come back at some point, it just doesn't. 1 year, 365 days, some people speculated that if you beat the game 365 times, then the SSN will come back. It doesn't. I'm surprised that some people actually did that, but yeah. And if you try to come here again, the ship set sail, you just can't. The game doesn't allow you. You can glitch to like get past this guy, so you can actually go back into the SSN, but there's just nothing for us there anymore. I just recommend that you pick up every item so you don't have to mess with it anymore. So now, we've done everything we can over at Vermilion Harbor. And with that, we are now able to take on the Vermilion Gym. As you can see, there is no way for us to get in there right now, except for this one little bush. Ugh, the bushes, but now that we have Cut, we can actually take care of them. Boom! Mew hacked away with Cut, and now we can actually go inside the gym. So next time on Pokemon Yellow, we are going to take on Why do I keep calling this place Cerulean? We are going to take on Vermilion Gym. Thank you guys so much for watching this one, and I'll meet you next time. Goodbye.